Hey everyone, it's Friday once again, and you know what that means? It's time for another edition of Artisan Weekly. It's edition 93. It's been a good week. I mean, sadly, England were knocked out of the World Cup, but we've seen lots of great things. Taylor won a competition to win a MacBook Pro for anyone who could deploy an application, build and deploy an application on Laravel Cloud over the weekend, which is great to see. So there's lots of really good submissions, and again, plenty of things going on in the Laravel world. And sort of head that way. Let's dig into this week's top 10. So first up, we've got this post here by Jack Ellis. Now, Jack is the founder of Fathom Analytics. It's a privacy-first analytics software. If you've used Google Analytics before, you're aware that all that information has been sent off to Google. Well, Fathom is the opposite of that, and it's a great tool. We use it on a number of projects, and this Jack always goes into some really great detail when he goes on about his blog posts, and this one's another good one. And they talk about moving databases. So 65 billion rows worth of information they moved across, and yeah, it's a really good deep dive on how they planned and executed that. So if that's something you're interested in, I'd definitely go over and check that post out. And then next up, we've got a recent release of the Laravel framework. So you might have heard of intervention image before to do image manipulation in your Laravel applications. Well, now Laravel have got first-party image processing built into the framework. It's not as feature-rich as intervention, but it has a number of features from there. So if you upgrade to this, you'll now have this new ability to do it from the request, as it shows you, like request image, avatar, all these kind of things. Interesting. Like, was it needed? I don't know. Will we use it until it's feature rich, till it has got a lot of those intervention methods? Probably not, but it's nice to see it there. Next up then, we got Len's latest PHP internals. Another good one. I'll say it again, if you're not subscribed to this channel, I would get onto that, because it definitely really helps you kind of keep an eye on what's going on in the RFCs, what's going on in the internals. This week, a couple of interesting ones. And yeah, so if you want to know what's going on, I would give this one a follow for sure. Next up then, we've got Brent. Now, this one is all about another RFC that we've seen, and he's asking the question, do we now need structs in PHP? Again, an interesting question to ask. He's saying that this new RFC, the primary constructors, maybe has gone too far for these kind of data objects that he likes to use. And maybe what we should just have is a struct and make it a lot easier. So yeah, love to hear your thoughts on that. But if you want to know more, head over to the YouTube channel and watch the video. Next up then, we've got this post by Stephen Richardson. Now, this was interesting. So zero-downtime database migrations in Laravel. So he goes about showing you how to do your migrations, particularly if you've got to change a column, like you might be adding a full name to a user table, how to do that using the expand and contract pattern. So it's got some interesting techniques in there. And it's not something we've done, but if you've got a big migration that you need to do, that's first of all has a database migration, and then a bunch of information needs to change, and the front end, and you don't want to break anything, this is a really interesting post to read and could help you out. Next up then, we've got Pratik Dev. So he started a new job, and he's on a new Laravel project, and he tried to set it up, and it just wasn't working. So he dug in to figure out what was going on, and he found that the migrations had changed. AI had changed the migrations and basically caused problems. Now that it hadn't been reviewed, it just been pushed straight into the code base. So any new starter or anyone picking up the project for the first time couldn't get it running because of these problems. So it just highlights like how important it is, if you are using AI, that it's an enhancement. So you still have to really look at the code it generates, review it, make changes if you need to. It's really important that we're still there as that step to make sure that these things don't happen. Next up then, we've got this post by Willem. So he talks about hosting any Laravel website that you might have built free on GitHub pages. Now, you might have seen, tools like Jigsaw saying that are allowed to do that. Statamic, you can cache and have that, deployed that way. But he shows you how to do it with the normal Laravel application. So it's quite interesting if you've been thinking about, if your application isn't overly complex and you could create static HTML out of it and it would still work. This might be a good post for you to read. And then another one that you might have come across the situation where you might have an application that is in CodeIgniter, for instance, and you need to move it across to Laravel, but the client doesn't want you to do one big push. They want you to do it gradually. So, a couple of routes at a time. I've heard it called the strangler technique. Now, this is a package that you can use that will help the authentication side of things. Obviously, if they're logging in on the CodeIgniter app and the next route they're using is in the Laravel app, Laravel doesn't know they're logged in. So this is a package that should hopefully help with that. And then next up, we've got another post here by Wendell. So, you use Laravel Scheduler probably pretty much every project you touch in Laravel. But if you really taken a deep dive and looked under the hood of it all, now Wendell has done that for us. So if you're interested in knowing and understanding how the schedule works, really get to the details of it all, head over and give this one a read. And then finally, we got this post by Tomas. He talks about how he used agents to fix problems in Rector. So he went and looked through a bunch of open source packages that were using Rector, and he looked over the skip rules, and he tried to figure out why these packages were always skipping certain rules in Rector. Was it a problem with the code that they'd written, or was it a problem in Rector that forced them to do skips? And he reached out to a package called Mortic and said, do you mind if I try and fix the problems? And he got AI to look through and figure out that some of the problems were in the Rector side. They needed to make changes to the code. So yeah, it's just quite an interesting use of AI and how to help improve Rector itself, which is a great package if you've not used it. It's really good for helping you build better PHP applications. So head on over and give that a go. So obviously that's it for this week. Hopefully there's been something there that you've enjoyed reading or watching. And if you have, of course, why not reach out to the authors and give them a big thanks, give them a follow on Twitter, and just let them know you appreciate the work that they're doing. And again, why don't you head over to Artisan Weekly and subscribe to the newsletter? It comes out every Friday, and it kind of gives you the top 10, but also a few extra bits in there as well. So yeah, hopefully I shall see you again next week. Thanks for reading.